Okay, so I've opened up the student test data SPSS file, which can be found in Blackboard, to go along with these two videos. The first video is going to be about descriptive statistics in SPSS. There are actually several ways you can do descriptive statistics in SPSS. It really all depends on the level of measurement you're looking at. So let's start out with the easiest one, and we'll look at continuous variables or scale continuous variables, levels of measurement, like test scores. Somebody's weight, somebody's height, their attendance record. These are continuous scales, or what we would commonly refer to as ratio interval data. And the best, or one of the best SPSS analysis to use is descriptive statistics. The actual descriptive statistics command. Now that can be found under Analyze, the pull-down menu Analyze. So if you click on Analyze, you get another drop-down menu. You'll see something that says Descriptive Statistics. When you mouse over it, you'll notice another window pop up, and you'll see Frequencies, Descriptives, and Explore. So we're going to select Descriptives. A window will pop up. On the left-hand side will be all of your variables that are in the data set. Now you'll notice the little icons. So the little icons, the little three circles represent that this is nominal data. The bar graph represents that this is ordinal data. And the little ruler represents scale data, and that's what we want to look at. Descriptive statistics command under Analyze really only works with scale data. So we're going to put an ELA. We're going to select the variables we want to do descriptive statistics on. The first one would be ELA 2014, Math 2014. We're going to do ELA 2013, Math 2013. Remember, I can multiple select by holding the control key down. Once I've highlighted these, I'm going to hit this little arrow in the middle, and it throws it over into the box on the right, meaning that SPSS is going to give us descriptive statistics on this. I'm going to click on the Options button. I'm going to make sure I have mean selected, standard deviation, minimum, maximum. I'm going to select range. I'm going to select skewness. And I'm going to select continue. And then I'm simply going to click on OK. What pops up now is the output window for the statistics. And we'll see ELA 2014. There's 660 students. The range is from 153. It goes from 147 to 300. The mean score on the ELA 2014 was 229 with a standard deviation of 27. I'll get to this in a minute. Math, the mean score was 243 with a standard deviation of 40. Quite a large standard deviation. Higher score but larger standard deviation. ELA 2013, 225 with a standard deviation of 27. And Math 2013, mean of 250 with a standard deviation 38. So we notice how the 14 and the 13 scores for math are similar as far as the mean and the standard deviation, and the same with the 2014-2013 ELA. Now, the descriptive statistics only gives you the mean, the standard deviation, and then you can get the range and all of that. So it doesn't give you a whole lot of information, but it gives you enough to be able to do, to get a sense of something in your data. The skewness statistic is an interesting little statistic. It tells us if the data is normally distributed. In other words, does it represent a normal curve? If you look at the value, the statistic itself, and you just look at the absolute value, if that absolute value is 1 or less, and in this case it's less than 1, disregard the negative sign. Just look at the absolute value. It's telling us that our data is not skewed. It's when the skewness statistic gets to a 1 or greater absolute value of 1 or larger that it's saying that maybe our data isn't normally distributed. It may be a little skewed. In that case, you would probably then run a histogram. And the histogram would give you a show of what's going on as far as your data is concerned. And if it looks like a normal curve or is pretty close to a normal curve, then unless the skewness statistic is really nuts, like an absolute value of 2 or greater, I'd really kind of discontinue it. Or I would just disregard it. Okay, the next descriptive statistic we can use is typically used for nominal or ordinal type level of measurement, where we're looking at categories and we want to know categories. And typically the command we use is frequencies. So we would do the same thing. We go up to Analyze, click on the pull-down menu, Descriptive Statistics appears. We want to go over and we want to select frequencies. So I would select frequencies. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select basically the nominal or ordinal data. So I'm going to select school. I'm going to select grade level. I'm going to select gender. I'm going to select economically disadvantaged, and I'm going to select special ed services. So all of these are basically categorical data. The three circles represent nominal data, which is strictly categorical, and grade level represents ordinal, right? Grades 5, 1, 2, 3, because the level of the grade has meaning to it. All right. I'm then going to go over and I'm going to click on the statistics button. I'm going to make sure that the mean, the median, the mode are all selected. The standard deviation. Skewness in this case can really be considered irrelevant. I'm going to click continue. I'm then going to click on charts, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to select a histogram, and I'm going to say show the normal curve on the histogram, and I'm going to click continue. The next most important thing is I need to make sure that this display frequency tables has been selected, because it will give me the frequencies of each one of the levels of the categories that I have. I'm then going to click OK. My output table comes up. It gives me the statistics, similar to the descriptive statistics for each variable that I have: school, grade level, gender, economically disadvantaged, and special ed services. To a certain extent, this is sort of irrelevant because I'm dealing with categorical data. The most important thing would be these frequencies. All right, so we have 220 students in the Washington school. That represents 33% of the population. 220 in Jefferson, 33. 220 in Madison, which is 33. Okay, grade level. 215 sixth graders, which is 32%. 232 seventh graders, which is 35%. And 213 eighth graders, which is 32%. The gender breakdown is actually quite different. Look at the males. 410, 62% of this population is males, and 37 or almost 40% is females. Look at the students on free and reduced lunch. Those who are not on free and reduced lunch are not almost 91%, and a little less than 10% on free and reduced lunch. Receiving special education services and not. Not is 82.3, and those who are receiving special ed services is 17.7. And then if we look at school, it's evenly divided. These are the histograms that we looked at, and we can see in the histograms different. So this is what we would do with nominal or categorical data. We would do the frequency or use the frequency command. Okay. You could have used this also if you had wanted to on a test score. We hit reset. Let's do the ELA 2014. Statistics button. Make sure we get mean, median, mode, standard deviation. I'm going to include the skewness this time. Click continue. The charts, I'm going to include a histogram. I'm going to click continue, and I'm going to click OK. Now here's my ELA scores, which I used the descriptive statistic for before. It gives me the same median, mean, median, and mode, standard deviation. The skewness statistic is less than 1. The only problem is it gives me frequency. It tells me exactly what every student scored. So that table is going to be huge. Because for each score, how many students scored a 268, a 269, a 270, right? But the nice thing it does give me is this histogram. Look at this histogram. So this histogram, remember we went back to the skewness statistic. It's less than 1, absolute value of 1. And this really shows us that our data is, for the most part, normally distributed for the ELA 2014. The last descriptive statistic I'm going to show you is called Explore. And you can really use this for any type of data or any type of level of measurement. I'm going to again click on Analyze. I'm going to go to Descriptive Statistics. When the window appears, I'm going to go down and scroll to Explore. I'm just going to put my variables in the dependent list, and I'm going to mix them up a little bit. I'm going to do, just for the heck of it, we're going to put in economically disadvantaged because that's a categorical variable, and we're going to put in Math 2014. Okay. Statistics, we want descriptives selected. When I click on that button, we're going to click Continue. For plots, we're going to get rid of stem and leaf. We're going to select histogram. Click Continue. We're going to click on the Options button. We're not. We don't need it. Under Display, we're going to make sure it says both. So we have a categorical variable, economically disadvantaged, and we have a continuous variable, Math 2014. We're now going to click OK. So here comes our economically disadvantaged and our Math 2014. It gives us a case summary of how many cases, 660. Now here's the descriptive statistics. So for economically disadvantaged, okay, really this is descriptive. We look at skewness is 2.7. Remember, this had a lot of students who were not economically disadvantaged, hence why the statistic is almost close to 1 here, right? But we look at the math. Math gives us mean. It gives us the median. It gives us the standard deviation, a minimum and a maximum. It gives us a skewness statistic. So it sort of gives us everything that we had under the descriptive statistic command. And it can also give us our histograms. So those are the 3 commands we basically use when we're doing descriptive statistics. Frequencies, when we have, for the most part, scale or ratio data, continuous data. Descriptives for when we have nominal or ordinal data. Although we can also do scale data on that, just remember, you're going to get a frequency table that's huge. And then, of course, Explore, which you can use on both or on all types of levels of measurement. So these are the ways to do descriptive statistics to find your mean, your median, your mode, your standard deviation, your variance, your range, okay, all of those things. My suggestion to you would be to experiment with all of them with your data to get a sense of what they're telling you, and they're telling you about the data.